Time now for this week's Health Matters. Paul Critz with you, along with physician assistant Lynn Szabo. And today's topic, Lynn, I've actually thought a lot about this for some reason recently.
Oh, good.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's just, but I think it's come up in previous conversations that we've had. But probiotics and gut health, I assume, the larger context of gut health.
No, actually, that's a future talk.
We're not talking about gut health?
We're just talking about probiotics.
Which is just a part of gut health.
Setting the stage.
Gotcha. Or to keep it all in the same kind of analogous space, setting the table.
That's right.
All right, let's get into probiotics then.
So probiotics are live microorganisms that typically people look at as providing health benefit. Okay. And it started in 1907 when actually a Nobel laureate noticed that in Bulgaria, I think, there was a connection between long life, so kind of an early blue zone probably,
right.
And yogurt consumption.
Whoa.
And so since then, the health claims have been off and running, and I have to say this is a largely data-free zone.
That's kind of my concern with all of this, with gut health, as things grow and we come into more understanding or starting to think about maybe how all these things are hooked together and everything in the probiotic. But it's, basically like anecdotal, right, is what we're talking about here? There's
some good studies. There's even some to the point of meta-analysis. So there are good data out there, but I think the claims are wildly, it's so complicated, and you can't just get from A to Z without going through all these other steps.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So probiotics come from two main sources. So obviously food, okay, and supplements. So food sources, I think, are the most intriguing. They also include pickled vegetables like kimchi or my favorite, sauerkraut, sourdough bread. But I saw a couple of references that said if sourdough bread is made from wheat or buckwheat flour, that diminishes the possibility it's going to be like really doing what you think it's going to be doing.
Okay.
Soy products like soy sauce or miso. And then dairy products like my favorite, kefir, yogurt, and buttermilk. And I think that surprises me is that bee pollen is considered a probiotic.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, what unifies the microorganisms found in all of these things? Because probiotic, as you pointed out in the intro, it's just a term that means, it's
it
good
means
for
a
health.
lot of different things. So specifically, these have, you could say they're loosely tied together with having three different species that are important. And I'm going to pronounce them wrong, but one is lactobacillus, everybody's favorite.
Oh, yeah.
One is Saccharomyces, and one is Bifidobacterium.
Okay.
Bifidobacterium. Okay. So, but there's also probably thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of other species that are kind of involved in this. Not just directly. It's not like they're the only thing there, or maybe in a supportive role.
So like prebiotics, is that what we're...
Well, prebiotics is they're food sources that are resources for the strains of probiotics that you want. But I don't think it's as easy as just saying, these three species and you're golden.
Yeah, right.
I think there's like a whole lot of different, and probably stuff that it hasn't even been discovered yet. And probably environmental, conditions and things like that. But one thing
it's just the same as cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, right? Or we all just...
Yeah, we're going with it, but we don't really know why.
But we're regionally different, and we have little flavors that are, that's funny.
Right. And one thing in the research of this that I thought was super interesting is that the gastrointestinal tract, we're like big donuts. So actually within our stomach proper, the organ, the stomach, or the organ, the small intestines, that's actually a connection with the outside.
Yeah.
Okay?
We're basically like a hose.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of toxic chemicals that go into breaking down food or toxic conditions, you know, like pH and stuff in the stomach, really low pH, so acidic. And how things move through there and survive through all these like wild, extreme environments just within all of us walking around on the street is kind of amazing.
I've always enjoyed things like media that depicts the alimentary canal as being like kind of a funhouse ride.
Right. Exactly it. And here's the other thing that blew my mind is the actual, say, if you're thinking about large intestine, that's where pretty much stool kind of comes together and is
Right.
being made. And you think of the wall of the internal wall of the large intestine, and everybody's going gross. It's actually the external wall if you really trip on it. But
Oh, right. Yeah, good point.
yeah. But it's covered with a layer of mucus, and those cells are actually sterile. And so all the bacteria and all the icky stuff that we think of as poop is kind of maintained separate with its own little barrier
In its own little
from the
clean
actual
room,
cells.
right? So
Yeah.
how does one part of that mucus, how does that stay sterile in that environment?
Well, that's why there's a lot of white cells there. It's like,
okay,
you know,
okay.
kind of making sure that, you know, none shall pass.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's it, as you can imagine, that's just the beginning of the complications of how we could possibly get some benefit from probiotics. Now, the other source of probiotics are supplements. And hypothetically, they're more purified and they focus on certain species. So probably most of the ones I see are lactobacillus. You know, that's what's in yogurt. That's what's in buttermilk. That's kefir.
Right.
But I also wonder if you go down to your random store and you buy a jar of probiotics off the shelf, are you buying anything that's alive?
Wow. Okay. Because I mean, that's key, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's key that you have. That's a big deal. Like with Greek yogurt, it's got live cultures.
Yeah, so then what if you go into kind of a different part of that same store and the refrigerated part and you buy something that hypothetically is alive? How is it, and you're buying, let's say you think you're buying lactobacillus because that's the most common one. How does it go through the whole part of your stomach until it gets to your small intestine, say? And there's small intestine is like got zones, you know. It's not like it's just its own thing. It's doing different things in different places. You know, like how does it survive bile salts?
Right.
You know, stuff like that. So, and then how do you know it's going to get to the place where you think it's going to do the most good, or whether it hypothetically could do the most good?
Is the concern because it's not coming kind of packaged in food that might enable it to get farther down the old alimentary canal, as opposed to just sort of being like a capsule that dissolves and you've got all this pure stuff that's just
Right.
going to be murdered right away
Like
in
a
your
data-free zone, nobody knows. I mean, there's
So do we not know how effective supplements are, really?
right. So A, are they alive? B, if they're alive, are they going to get to where you put them?
Wow.
And C, are they going to get there in enough numbers and healthy enough to make a difference?
Right.
So, yeah, that's a big curiosity.
Am I just and sort of a separate thing here? Am I totally amiss? Shut me down right away if what I'm saying is irresponsible. But basically, supplements for the most part are kind of hokum.
Yeah, well, we commented on that a couple of weeks ago, actually. There are no, and I'm talking about a couple of weeks ago, that topic where supplements did not show
Right.
any long-term benefit.
Right. But those were specific kinds of supplements. And
Right.
now we're talking about a different kind. So I'm just
Right.
wondering.
These
just
are more
across-
living ones, hypothetically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
but you don't even know. And, you know, keep in mind that in 2015, the whole probiotics thing was a $41 billion global market.
Wow.
Even just before COVID-19 showed up on the world, people in China were eating like a huge amount more yogurt than they usually do. So what did they know? I don't know. But
Where were they eating more yogurt?
They were eating more yogurt
Who's
in
they?
China.
In China, really?
Chinese people, Chinese citizens were eating more yogurt. Yeah, one. But my point is, it's interesting to me that it's so easy for us to think that we have an easy answer to a health worry that we have or a health concern, without really questioning, like, legitimately, is this even going to work?
Like, how do you mean?
Like the body wisdom, it gets doubted all the time. Oftentimes, just having a cold, your body has some wisdom. It knows how to get you better. It's going to take a little bit of time. Body wisdom things all the time take longer than you'd want them to. But I think it's a little arrogant of us to kind of know how we can fix that. In that.
You mean looking for a magic bullet?
Yeah, looking for a magic bullet and then assuming we would recognize it as a magic bullet, a
Okay,
real
right.
magic bullet.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of wishful thinking that's packaged as marketed.
Yeah. I think so. And we've talked about this on previous episodes as well with Dr. Raymer, and then you and I have talked about this too. I think that, like, in the past, science and medicine was very analytical and tearing things apart and getting down to your magic bullets, getting down to your one little existential quantifier, this little thing, this is your problem. And now we're finding out that it's really just this knot of interconnected causality that you can't tease out. It's
hugely complicated and then variable over time and circumstance. So...
And individuality, like who you are, is part of that circumstance. Yeah,
and where you are on the planet. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Wow. So it's going to be really hard to find magic bullets.
It is. It's going to be way more complicated than it's just one pill, folks. And if you take it for 90 days, you'll be fine.
Right.
I mean, but you can get 30% cure with placebo. So maybe that's what we're hanging on to.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So why would somebody want to take probiotics? So they're recommended for just about everything.
Yeah.
They are specifically recommended but documented not to help with ear infections, asthma, allergies, garden variety diarrhea, and elevated cholesterol.
Wow, okay.
I think that's super interesting that they would look at those things. I would think it would be more GI thing and longevity maybe. But those were specifically looked at and found that probiotics didn't help with those. And that's just some of the list that I was looking at.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. One study, they were giving probiotics to nursing moms, hoping that their infants with eczema, that would resolve that. No, it's a big no-go. So places they might help. So this is largely not stellar evidence.
Right, because you've got might. They might help, but I don't know. So it's
might. Antibiotic-associated diarrhea, vaginal infections, high blood pressure, which... What? That'd be super interesting to see what the mechanism is there. And even more astounding, depression and anxiety.
Well, that to me is the thing that I've heard the most. That's the connection I've heard the most is that the surprising, it's surprising that, and again, based upon what science, but it's surprising that our moods, our mental health they think can be tied to gut health. Right? I mean...
But that's so incredibly complicated to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you're just happy because your stomach...
Maybe. But again, or maybe it's this knot of interconnected causality strings that you can't tease one out. And, it's like you can't pull the one fiber out and go, hey, look at this sweater. It's not like...
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of interesting to me because I routinely recommend... kefir and yogurt for like kids who have virally associated stomach flu.
Okay.
And that it's actually taken over in the medical exam room. It's taken over the more traditional advice, which is the brat diet: bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast.
Oh, I haven't heard the brat diet.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
really?
now all the pediatrician fans are like, oh no, brat doesn't work. Brat's out.
Was brat meant just to gum you up? Is that what that was for?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And just kind of mild.
Yeah.
Bland food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So that I find that interesting that now we've gone actually to really commonly recommending something that doesn't apparently have any data to support it. So,
Oh my gosh, this is
yeah.
not helping me have any sort of
I
confidence
know.
in knowledge or
We thought
medicine
we could
or
just go down to the
yogurt.
store and get a big old bottle and we'd be like,
That's all you had
healthy.
to do. Everything's great, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting. You would think, well, what's it going to hurt? Okay, maybe it'll help. What's
Yeah.
it going to hurt? Well, it actually causes problems with vulnerable groups of people, and this I thought was really interesting. So, in pregnant women, they get a kind of a not very well understood problem that can be life threatening called preeclampsia, and then it goes on to eclampsia, which is like really scary, bad things happening. So actually probiotics increase risk of preeclampsia.
Wow.
And that would be a common thing you might advise a pregnant woman to do, just a general health thing. But for the right vulnerable person, which is usually a young woman on her first pregnancy, or maybe a woman on a couple of pregnancies down the road who has hypertension associated with her pregnancy, that actually could be a really bad move.
What is preeclampsia again? I
Oh.
remember that from when I was having kids. Well, not myself, but adjacent to somebody having
Yeah, I don't
kids.
think medicine truly knows, but clinically we can describe the symptoms. So,
Really? Medicine doesn't know?
no,
Okay. What are the symptoms?
it's kind of, so the symptoms are, it starts off with bad headaches and what we call scotoma, which is flashing lights.
Uh-huh.
And we notice an increase in blood pressure. And then you start to have problems with platelet numbers dropping, liver function tests elevating, and people then start to develop seizures.
Oh my gosh.
And then it can be fatal. And really, the usual treatment is delivery of the fetus.
Wow.
Okay, but even if somebody has the fetus delivered, there still have been people that have had preeclampsia after the pregnancy has resolved, and supposedly they're safe.
Huh.
But sometimes it can get so bad that even postpartum, people can die from it.
And we don't know if it's inflammation, if it's a brain thing, where it's happening, what the mechanisms are?
I think the answer to that is yes. All those mechanisms are involved.
No, great. Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
it's one of those things that's highly complex.
Right.
Yeah, they think it has something to do maybe with magnesium. But it's interesting to note that usually young women in their first pregnancy are the most vulnerable.
I'll be darned.
But you can also put people on aspirin. So if your prenatal provider is asking you, a young woman in your first pregnancy, to take a baby aspirin a day, you should listen to that.
Okay.
Most of them kind of don't understand, so they don't do it.
So elucidate that. Why the baby aspirin? What is that? Is it something that's just been
I
observed?
think
that-
loosely they'd say it decreases inflammation, but they don't really understand further.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And the next group of people that shouldn't be taking probiotics, and I could totally see this happening, is people with a depressed immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are undergoing cancer treatments or maybe have advanced immunocompetency like AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you think you'd be trying everything
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you were that
hell,
sick?
yeah.
So apparently the bacteria can cross into the bloodstream from the intestines, hypothetically, and cause people to be septic.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's a potentially fatal, that's a very deadly disease
Yeah.
in an immunocompromised person.
Yeah, yeah. So is it always crossing that barrier just in everybody, healthy people or otherwise, and are just our immune systems take care of it?
Yeah, usually, but I would think that, oftentimes people with AIDS, if they're not doing very well, if they're progressing the disease, have things like chronic diarrhea. So I think that, that whole line of mucus that protects the inside
Right,
of
might
the
be like
intestines
shed.
is not there.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
sloughed off, and
Wow.
it's not being kind of regrouped.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be easy for a bunch of benign bacteria to just end up in the wrong place.
Can you OD on these?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know if you're talking about ODing on like a pill form of a probiotic?
I guess maybe no,
we don't
just
even know what that means yet.
have so much gut health, have so many biotic things going on in your gut or in your system that it becomes too much for your immune
Yeah, I
system.
suppose somebody who has something like ulcerative colitis or
You'd have to have
Crohn's.
okay.
Again, the microenvironment in their gut is not protecting them.
Right.
It's not working
Right.
normally.
Huh.
Okay. So the take home is it's really hard to buy a supplement over the counter and know exactly what you're getting, to know if that's exactly going to help you, or to even know, like what percentage of the organisms in that bottle are actually alive.
I wonder if there are. I know that my wife Lisa, with any supplements, anything, actually, and even with prescription medication, she goes and does as much research online as
Good.
she can, and there are websites that will tell you like which supplements. Like, oh yeah, this says it's magnesium, but is it really?
Yeah.
That there are sites that do that. I
Right.
wonder if that they also do that with probiotics, with the supplements.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But also, this is actually maybe a good spot to note that in the exam room, oftentimes I hear people who are talking to me about a YouTube video that they saw that's actually trying to sell them something,
Yeah.
but gives them a certain amount of medical information that they think is going to be useful to me
Yeah.
somehow, even though it's like they're selling you something. Who knows what that really means?
Right.
And people are wide-eyed and they're like, what? They're selling me something?
Yeah. If it's online, they're selling you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's probably an element of body wisdom in here, and that is that it's preferable to eat a healthy diet with a wide variety of foods. And you can go, look up Wikipedia, and the Mayo Clinic sites have long lists of what are seen as foods that can provide good probiotics. And I would assume that most of those are alive, but I don't know. We don't know. And then you can also, like we talked about, add the prebiotics to it. It's really overlapping group of foods. And trust your body wisdom that actual food that you're eating is going to get to the right place and, have the right thing arrive there, and the body will know the right thing to do with it. And I think for most healthy people, that's kind of where it should be.
Would you ever consider a supplement, a probiotic supplement?
I do drink kefir.
Yeah, but I meant, I guess, over the counter, like human produced
No
supplement, right?
No,
Right.
I don't pay any attention to those.
Yeah, because again, and I think this was something that came up with our conversation with Dr. Raymer about preventing diabetes. Is that if you just, it's like, in a sense, listening to your body, but using the systems that are natural to your body, which in this case is eating.
Right.
And so the probiotics you get through that are coming. They're not just the probiotics that are coming; they're alive, but they're coming wrapped in this package that might contain all these other things that we don't even understand about them yet. And to kind of look for that magic bullet. Here's a little capsule. Take this instead.
Yeah.
Gets rid of all that other stuff.
Trust your body's wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your body's been doing it a long time.
Right.
And so with a lot of people before you. And I don't think we have to try and reinvent because we know better, because we totally don't.
I think that's, yeah. The more I'm the older I get, the more stupid I'm convinced.
I do, however, have an emotional moment where I do feed kefir to my aging dog. And I have some hope that that's going to...
What is your hope?
My hope is that he will stay on the planet in a healthy way a little bit longer.
I guess, what do you hope is the mechanism that's allowing that outcome to occur?
I think his bowel health in general could be better.
Have you just, corroborated?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would necessarily admit it to the vet.
Really?
Aging dogs get things like pancreatitis, and then what is the one thing that sends everybody either across the rainbow bridge or to the conval is incontinence of stool and urine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like That's like the last thing you can do on this planet before you get definitely demoted.
Oh my God! Before you
I
get
know.
demoted.
So, I'm trying to keep that all happy in our house.
I forgot what your dog's name is. It Caesar?
Caesar.
Caesar, right. So to Caesar, I think I won last week sometime. I'm coming down the steps out here and Caesar was in your car in Chess. I think it was Caesar. There were two little dogs.
Yeah, Maisie.
Which one wanted to kill me?
It was Maisie.
Was that Maisie who wanted to kill me
Yeah.
up against the window and just
Yeah.
and the other one who was just
Right.
sitting there looking at me with the old wisdom in the
Yeah.
eyes was Caesar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Does Caesar willingly drink the kefir?
Oh, he loves it.
Does he really? Oh wow,
He
that's
loves
cool.
it. Oh my
that's
God, he
neat.
gets excited when he sees the heart.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. So, big picture takeaway from this is eat a balanced diet, eat right.
Eat like your mother told you to. Really?
I don't know.
Or
Maybe
my grandmother, great grandmother.
like my generation, we might be so much into the mass-produced era that I have to listen to my grandmother.
Yeah.
Because my mom grew up with mass-produced food too and things. Yeah, well, she still has a lot of that wisdom. It's filtered out a little bit, I
Right.
think. But yeah.
Well, my mom was a registered dietitian. And
Oh, there you go. That'll do it.
yeah, she was a disaster.
My grandma was a short order cook.
I wish I grew up in your house, man. Oh my God. So,
French dips for everyone.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Wow. Well, thank you very much. That's interesting. So you said that like down the road, maybe we get into a larger contextual discussion of gut health in general. I'd like to. Maybe I don't want to know.
I've been reluctant to bring up poo. Because I wasn't certain how it would be received. But yeah, I think it's a fascinating topic.
It really is. And I'd like to know again, as time and again you've disavowed me of these myths that I carry around with me. But I'd
Right.
like to know just what we actually know about gut health and what it does, and what
I think we know more than we used to, and I think we know that we need to know more.
I hope that's what we need, because
Yeah.
I think there's also a lot out there that's gut healthy. You get a good healthy gut biome, then all your problems are solved. And I
Right.
think we tell ourselves things
Right.
like that.
Outside Magazine a couple of years ago did a really interesting article on
What
that.
was it? What? Just on gut health and what?
Yeah, the lead athletes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so they did like who you want to get your fecal transplant from. I
Oh
guess.
no.
Ew, gross. See, but not only they found the basic bottom line is people who did organic gardening and ate out of their organic garden for the most part, and lived in pristine areas.
Okay.
Okay, that weren't like messed up by I guess manufacturing. And,
Sure, you're not
and
living
other
in a
toxic
super fun
chemicals
site,
and
yeah.
things like that.
Not on Paper Street.
Were the best, and they were able to take that health and then transform it into better athletic performance in their own personal way.
Well, okay. All right.
Yeah. So off the grid.
Yeah.
Another reason to move off the grid.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah. I don't like thinking of that because I inhabit a node on the grid, and I get sick of it. But yeah, it'd be nice to unplug and go grow your own food, and that's so sad that's become such a not a status thing, but a privilege thing, right? Oh, you can go and get away from
Right.
everything and go grow your own food. How
And the guy
fortunate.
who had the best gut health was like a maniac about it. I mean, he
Really?
was like he's in his little, part of the microbiome. And he's not moving out of it.
Moving.
Yeah. So
Wow. All right. Well, that was really, really interesting. I look forward to anything talking about the gut health because it's got this sort of this mythology that I see growing around us almost daily, and I don't know. I'd like to prick that bubble. Well, so what do you have? Anything in store for next week? Any insights into that?
well, I'm looking into gut health.
Really?
apparently.
Are you going to? Oh, I didn't. I
I'd
thought
be
that was
glad to
off
do
in the
that.
future. I didn't.
No, I'm kind of excited about
Okay,
it.
all right,
Now
all
that the poo barrier is down, I'm going for it.
I did not say the poo barrier was down per se, but yeah, maybe it's transpucent. No, that's not a word. I'm sorry. That's
Gross. Boo.
well, Lynn. Thank you very much. I look forward to the next Health Matters.
Thanks.